Welcome to the session on turbo machine. In the last class, we started discussion on hydraulic turbines and we discussed what is meant by hydraulic machines, what is an hydraulic turbine, what are the classifications of hydraulic turbine based on the action of water, based on the blade design, and based on the action of water. And then we discussed what are the basic components of an hydraulic power plant, hydroelectric power plant. What are the basic components of hydroelectric power plant? What is meant by head, what is total head, what is the effective head that acts on an turbine. Today we are going to discuss on what is meant by what are the different efficiencies in case of hydroelectric power plant and how the Pelton wheel works, working of Pelton wheel. The first topic that we are discussing today is the efficiencies. The first one is the hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency is defined as the power given by the water to the runner of a turbine to the power supplied by the water at the inlet of the turbine. That means it is the ratio of the power available at the turbine, means power delivered to the runner. All the power which is given by the water is not going to convert into the power or the runner power. There will be some hydraulic losses. Due to this, the power available at the runner is always less than the power which is given or the power which is available at the outlet of the nozzle. The ratio of power delivered to the runner to the water power is called hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency is defined as power given by the water to the runner of a turbine to the power supplied by the water at the inlet of the turbine. The power given at the inlet of the turbine is always more, and this power goes on decreases as the water flows over the blades due to the hydraulic losses. There will be some friction between the water and the blades, and all the water which comes out of the nozzle doesn't comes in contact with the blades. Due to this, some power will last, some kinetic energy of the water will last, which is not utilized, due to which the runner power is always less than the water power, and the ratio of runner power to the water power is called the hydraulic efficiency. And we already derived the equation for energy transfer or the power in the second module, which is given by m into v suffix w1. Okay, the runner power is given by m into v suffix u1 plus or minus v suffix u2, where v suffix u1 is the tangential velocity, the tangential component of the absolute velocity v1. We already derived this equation in the second module. The runner power is given by m into v suffix u1 plus or minus v suffix u2. Here I have used plus or minus sign because it depends on the directions of tangential components v suffix u1 and v suffix u2. If both of them are in the same direction, then we need to use negative sign. If they are in the opposite directions, if they are in the same direction, we need to use the positive sign. If they are in the opposite direction, we need to use the negative sign. And the water power is given by rho q gh. Rho is density kg per meter cube, q is meter cube per second, g is acceleration meter per second square, and h is head. And the water power is given by rho q gh. This is the equation for finding hydraulic efficiency, which is the ratio of the runner power to the water power. The next one is mechanical efficiency. Mechanical efficiency is defined as the ratio of shaft power to the runner power. All the power which is supplied by the water to the blades is not transmitted to the shaft on which the blades are mounted. There will be some friction between the runner and the shaft, due to which some losses will take place. Therefore, all the power which is available at the blades is not transmitted to the shaft, and the ratio of shaft power to the runner power is called mechanical efficiency. The power delivered by the water to the runner of a turbine is transmitted to the shaft of the turbine. Due to the mechanical losses, the power available at the shaft of the turbine is always less than the power delivered by the water to the runner of a turbine, and the power available at the shaft of the turbine to the power delivered to the runner is defined as the mechanical efficiency. Okay. The next is volumetric efficiency. All the water which is supplied to the inlet of the turbine doesn't strikes the turbine blades. Some water without striking the blades released to the tail race. Therefore, the volume of the water which is actually striking the runner to the volume of the water actually supplied to the runner, this ratio is called volumetric efficiency. The volume of the water striking the runner of a turbine is slightly, our volumetric efficiency is always around, it is 95 to 97%. Only 3 to 5% of the water doesn't comes in contact with the turbine blades, and this ratio is called the volumetric efficiency. The volume of the water striking the runner of a turbine is slightly less than the volume of the water supplied to the turbine. Some volume of the water is discharged to the tail race without striking the runner of a turbine. Thus, the ratio of water which actually strikes the runner to the volume of the water which is actually supplied to the runner, this ratio is called the volumetric efficiency. Next one is overall efficiency. Overall efficiency is defined as power available at the shaft of the turbine to the power supplied by the water. We already discussed mechanical efficiency and hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency is runner power by water power, and mechanical efficiency is shaft power by runner power. Similarly, overall efficiency is the ratio of shaft power to the water power. Okay, it is not shaft power to the runner power, it is shaft power to the water power. Multiplying and dividing by runner power, we can write the overall efficiency as the product of mechanical efficiency and hydraulic efficiency. Okay, that's all. We already discussed that the water turbine, there are three types of water turbines we are using as of now: Pelton wheel, Francis turbine and Kaplan turbine. Francis turbine and Kaplan turbine are reaction turbines where there is no nozzle. In case of Kaplan turbine and Francis turbine, there is no nozzle. Okay, the Pelton wheel, whereas Pelton wheel is an impulse turbine where the water from the dam, large reservoirs, is carried to the Pelton wheel through penstocks and then it flows through the nozzle, which converts the pressure energy of the water into kinetic energy. A Pelton wheel is a tangential flow turbine. We already discussed, based on direction of the water coming in contact with the blades. They are classified into tangential flow turbines, axial flow turbines, radial flow turbines. Right? Pelton wheel is a tangential flow turbine where the water strikes the turbine blades in the tangential direction. What is a tangent? It is a line passing through a point on a circle. Here also you can see the water striking the turbine blades in the tangential direction or the tip of the turbine runner. It is passing through the tip of runner. Therefore, the water striking the blades in the tangential direction, and hence the Pelton wheel is called a tangential flow turbine. Water strikes the blades. The energy available at the inlet of the turbine is only the kinetic energy, because here it is provided with a nozzle at the end of the penstocks. This nozzle completely converts the pressure energy of the water into the kinetic energy. Therefore, the energy which is available at the inlet of the turbine is only the kinetic energy, and hence it is called the impulse turbine, impulse tangential flow turbine. Since complete pressure energy gets converted into kinetic energy at the inlet of the nozzle, the pressure at the inlet of the turbine and at the outlet of the turbine, the pressure of the fluid, the pressure of the water remains constant, and it is almost equal to atmospheric. The basic components of a Pelton wheel are penstock, nozzle, spearhead, casing, buckets, runner and brake nozzle. These are the 6 components of a Pelton wheel. We already discussed the working of penstock. What is the function of penstock? It carries water from dam or reservoir into the inlet of the turbine. They are long pipes, circular pipes. Penstock is nothing but a circular pipe which is in 2 to 3 meter in diameter. It carries water. The function of the penstock is to carry water from dam to the inlet of the turbine. At the end of the penstock, a nozzle is fixed. The function of the nozzle is to convert the pressure energy of the water into the kinetic energy. It increases the velocity of the water so that high velocity water strikes the turbine blades. A spearhead is provided in the penstock or the inlet of the nozzle. By moving forward and backward this spearhead, we can vary the amount of water which strikes the turbine blades. Here the blades, you can see here, the blades of the Pelton wheel are having the shape of a cup or a bucket. Therefore, the blades of the Pelton wheel are also called buckets. The vanes or the blades of a Pelton wheel, since they are having the shape of a bucket or a cup, they are also called buckets. Runner is a circular disc which is attached to the shaft, and these buckets are fixed to this runner, and they are evenly fixed. Since it is an impulse turbine, the buckets are evenly fixed on the periphery of the runner. A brake nozzle is provided which supplies the water in the opposite direction of rotation of the Pelton wheel. If the spearhead is completely moved forward and the striking of the water is completely stopped, or when there is a need to stop the Pelton wheel, even after stopping the water completely from the nozzle, due to the inertia, the Pelton wheel continues to rotate. In such conditions, to stop the Pelton wheel, the water is sprayed in the opposite direction of rotation using the brake nozzle. This is the function of the brake nozzle. It is used to stop the Pelton wheel when there is a need to stop the Pelton wheel. The next component of Pelton wheel is casing. It protects the components of Pelton wheel. It acts as a safeguard. Okay, this is about the Pelton wheel, the components of Pelton wheel, and it is an impulse turbine. What is an impulse turbine? Impulse turbine is one in which only the kinetic energy is available at the inlet of the turbine, and it is a tangential flow turbine where the water enters the turbine blades in tangential direction. Okay. Next, velocity triangles for Pelton wheel. Since the water enters in the tangential direction to the turbine blades, you can see here in this direction the water enters. Therefore, alpha 1. What is alpha 1? It is the angle at which the water strikes the turbine blades is 0 here. It is a straight line because the water enters in the tangential direction. Angle of entrance of jet is 0. The inlet velocity triangle collapses to a straight line. Because we studied in the second module, the tangential component of the absolute velocity is responsible for the rotation of the turbine blades. Since the water enters here in the tangential direction only, VR1, U1, VW1, all of them are represented by an horizontal line. Here there is no inlet triangle, just a straight line is there for impulse. Therefore, the tangential component of the absolute velocity at the inlet V1 becomes equals to VW1 because the water enters in the tangential direction only. Therefore, V1 becomes VW1, and the relative velocity at the inlet is we know that what is VR1? It is V1 minus U1, and it is represented V1 minus U1 gives the relative velocity. If HF is the total loss, then the effective head which is available at the inlet of the turbine is given by H equals H suffix G minus HF. H suffix G is nothing but the gross head or the total head. We already discussed in the last class. Effective head is given by gross head minus the head loss due to friction. We already studied in the fluid mechanics. The loss of head due to friction is given by the equation 4FLV square by 2GD, where V is the velocity of the water in the penstock, L is the length of penstock, D is diameter of the penstock, D star, and small d gives the diameter of the jet. Okay, therefore the velocity of the jet or the inlet of the turbine is given by square root of 2gh, where h is the effective head which is available at the inlet of the turbine. The blade speed at the inlet and the outlet, U1 is equals to U2, because why? It is an impulse turbine. Pelton wheel is an impulse turbine. For an impulse turbine, and the blades are symmetrical here. Therefore, for an impulse turbine, the blade speed at the inlet is equals to blade speed at the U outlet. U1 is equals to U2. Therefore, since it is an impulse turbine and the water enters, since the blades are having the shape of a cup, the water enters and leaves symmetrically. Therefore, the blade speed remains constant at the inlet and at the outlet, which is given by pi dn by 60, where d is the diameter of the runner. From outlet velocity triangles, we can write cos beta 2 equals u plus vw2 by vr2. What is cos? It is adjacent by hypotenuse. Here you can see cos beta 2 equals adjacent side is u2 plus vw2 divided by vr2, adjacent by hypotenuse. Therefore, cos beta 2 equals, we can write u plus vw2 by vr2, because u2 equals u. Therefore, we can write vw2 equals vr2 cos beta 2 minus u. But for an impulse turbine, the relay, and since here the blades are symmetrical, the relative velocity at the inlet is equals to relative velocity at the outlet for an Pelton wheel. Therefore, we can write vw2 equals vr1 cos beta 2 minus u. But what is vr1? It is v1 minus u1. We can write v1 minus u. Therefore, vw2 equals v1 minus u into cos beta 2 minus u. Force exerted by the jet of water. From Euler's turbine equation, it can be given by F is equals to m into vw1 plus vu2. But what is mass? Mass of the water striking the turbine blades can be given by the equation rho a v from continuity equation. Rho a v1 gives the mass of the water striking the turbine blades. Therefore, the force exerted by the jet of water can be given by rho a v1 into v suffix u1 plus v suffix u2. Since here vu1 and vu2 are in opposite direction, we have taken positive sign. Okay. Now power developed can be given by the product of force into velocity. Force into velocity, the blade speed, tangential blade speed u. Now substitute the value of vu2 which we got. Substitute the values of v suffix u2 which we got already here to the equation of power developed. Rearranging this equation, we will get the common term as v1 minus u. You can see here. We will get the common term as v1 minus u. Take v1 minus u, this term outside this bracket. We will get the power developed by the turbine as rho a v1 into v1 minus u into 1 plus cos beta 2 into u. From substitute the power developed by the turbine, this equation in the equation of hydraulic efficiency. Runner power is given by rho a v1 into v1 minus u into 1 plus cos beta 2 into u, and the water power is given by half mE square. The mass of the water striking is given by rho a V1, and the kinetic energy available at the inlet of the turbine. Water power is nothing but the kinetic energy which is available at the inlet of the turbine, which is given by half mE1 square. Therefore, it is given by half into rho a V1 into V1 square. Rho a V1 get cancels, 2 shifts to numerator. Therefore, we will get the equation of hydraulic efficiency as 2U into V1 minus U into 1 plus cos beta 2 divided by V1 square. Here the hydraulic efficiency equation is given by 2U into V1 minus U into 1 plus cos beta 2 by V1 square. Once the blade is designed, the beta 2 remains constant. For a given value of V1, here the hydraulic efficiency, the condition for maximum efficiency can be obtained by deriving the equation of hydraulic efficiency with the blade speed, because once the blade is designed, the beta 2 angle remains the same. We can't vary. Here only variable is the blade speed with respect to V1. Therefore, the condition for maximum efficiency can be obtained. The maximum hydraulic efficiency can be obtained by deriving the equation of hydraulic efficiency with respect to the blade speed. Okay, therefore derive the equation of hydraulic efficiency with respect to blade speed. Here 1 plus cos beta 2 by V1 is a constant term, therefore take that outside. We left with 2U V1 minus 2U square. The differentiation of 2U V1 is 2V1 is constant. Differentiation of x with respect to x is 1. X square is 2x. Therefore, it becomes 2V1 minus 4U.
Yeah.
Therefore, we will get U equals V1 by 2. That means when the blade speed is half of the velocity of the jet, then the efficiency of turbine will be maximum. Substituting this condition in the equation of hydraulic efficiency, we will get 2U equals V1 by 2, V1 minus V1 by 2 into 1 plus cos beta 2 by V1 square. Here 2 get cancels, therefore we left with V1 minus into V1 minus V1 by 2 into 1 plus cos beta 2 by V1 square. V1 minus V1 by 2 is V1 by 2, V1 minus V1 is V1 by 2. We will get V1 by 2. V1 into V1 is V1 square. V1 square get cancels. We left with 1 plus cos beta 2 by 2. And this is the equation for hydraulic efficiency, the maximum hydraulic efficiency that can be obtained by an Pelton turbine is given by 1 plus cos beta 2 by 2, assuming the blades, the relative velocity at inlet and outlet is same, VR1 equals VR2. If there is any variation, if the blades are not smooth, if the friction of the blades is considered, then the ratio of relative velocity of the blade is given by C suffix B equals VR2 by VR1, and the hydraulic efficiency is given by 1 plus C suffix B into cos beta 2 by 2. This is the equation for hydraulic efficiency of an Pelton wheel. Okay, that's all for today. We will discuss in next class.